minor technical difficulties. These things happen. All right, folks. I had a power outage at my house. So here we are. We are back. Of course, again, I'm joined with special guest Chris Connor. We were talking about it, Chris, right before the power went out at my place here. What was going on? Sean O'Malley, my friend. What do you think of this hype? Is he derailed? Or are we still rolling with it? Is this a make or break a fight? How is this thing ending? You tell me.
I'm going to Song Yudong split decision. I think, look, if you're Yudong, you're going, okay, look, Rob was able to use a lot of wrestling and pressure, keep, O'Malley from just standing from the outside and picking apart with his strikes, his kicks. Again, you got to wonder about the headspace. And I get it. Look, the UFC has gone all in on Sugar Sean O'Malley. As my good friend Marcel Dorfer said, Dana White privilege has its benefits, and it is Sean O'Malley. So, but look, I think it's a bad matchup. This is Song Yudong is a tough out. His only loss recently was to Peter Yan, and Peter Yan is now our current bantamweight champion. So, again, I think they say styles make fights, and this is a bet. I think for Sean O'Malley, Song Yudong is the kind of guy who will muck it up, who will make it almost a phone booth fight, and he's going to try to take it to the ground. He's going to throw a lot of shots, whether it's on the arms, the legs, anything to just slow Sugar Sean down. So yeah, give me a Song Yudong by split decision.
Yeah, I like the split decision thing. I think the longer this fight goes, I agree with you. Danger zone for Sean O'Malley. I don't necessarily love him going into the trenches again. It's not his best look, if you will. Sean O'Malley is a dangerous elite striker, as we know. If he can get rolling early and fast and often, yeah, Sean O'Malley is dangerous. I will give that, but. More times out of not, Song Yudong might be the upset winner in this one. And at plus 250 on your betting odds right now, get locked in on that one. All right, just going to say that right now. And then, of course, our main event of the evening, we got Justin Gaethje taking on Paddy Pimblett. Both men, bit of a tear, unbelievable presence when it comes to, you want to talk about names. These guys got him. So that's a good thing when you're watching this fight. This was going to be the co-main, or this was the main event no matter what. Paddy Pimblett, Justin Gaethje, very intriguing. Two kind of similar-esque styles. This is Paddy Pimblett's biggest fight. Tell me I'm wrong.
No, you're not wrong. This is where it's like, okay, make or break for him. And look, there were a lot of people who thought, hey, Chandler was going to expose him. He didn't, but Michael Chandler, you can look back and go, probably got hurt by sitting out for so long. It's not going to be the case with Gaethje. He's going to come forward. He's going to try to throw a lot of heavy, hands. He's done that before. The big key is going to be, I think, can Gaethje keep this fight standing? Because if I'm Paddy Pimblett, look, I want to take it to the ground. Gaethje's been submitted a couple times. Most recently, Charles Oliveira back at UFC 274. Gaethje can wrestle, but he is a guy who can get caught with submissions. And as we've seen with Paddy Pimblett, he is a guy who, if he gets, if you give him an arm, if you give him a leg, he will take advantage of it. He'll take it to the ground and he will submit you. So I'm going Paddy Pimblett for this, just because I think it's just, you worry with Gaethje that everything's catching up. It's like the fight with Khabib back in 2020, then the fight of the night brawl with Michael Chandler, then Charles Oliveira, then Rafael Fiziev, Dustin Poirier, Max Holloway knockout after 5 rounds of just rock'em sock'em action, and Rafael Fiziev again. I mean, there is no easy fight when you're Justin Gaethje. You just wonder if it's finally catching up. If this will finally be the time where Justin gets kind of old.
Yeah, that's always been my biggest thing right now with him too. Is that I think he's getting to that point. Time is up. It's getting harder and harder on him for sure. Been great. So I'm going to roll Paddy, and you are saying the same?
Yeah, I'm going Paddy Pimblett by, I'll say, second round submission.
I do like those odds. Second round submission. What are we looking at? Do you have your bets pulled up on that one right now? I know it was minus 115 and minus 105, so it was a bit of a pick 'em before, but by submission.
Yeah, I don't have those up on front of me. I'm still looking because there's several different sites, but you got to think that there's, the action's coming heavily on like knockout for either Gaethje or maybe even knockout for Paddy Pimblett. But either way, I think people are betting odds like this is not going to go the full 5 rounds, but this will end quickly.
Yeah, I think so too. Going to be a great event, man. Finally, UFC's back. We're talking about it. It's the Boomtown Pod podcast. If you guys missed our announcements earlier, we have brand new sponsor of the show, Iron and Ink Clothing, out in Florida, man. We're so pumped to have them. One of the biggest tattooing companies, Iron and Ink. We're super pumped to be with Missions. And you want to buy some sweet merch, that stuff behind me. This is a part of the show we're going to talk about wrestling, ladies and gentlemen. This is your wrestling breakdown, and it is sponsored by Iron and Ink Clothing. All right, let's get into it. The Royal Rumble. It is coming up in 2 weekends' time out in Saudi Arabia. Going to be a good one. Early prediction. Who do you think is going to win and headline their way to WrestleMania?
I'm going Braun Breaker. This feels like just his year where WWE goes, all right, you're the guy. You are the next big thing. We're starting to see like Cody start getting really involved in movies, and Roman Reigns talked about this will be my last contract. Seth Rollins is injured and basically said, hey, I'm closer to the end than the beginning. Again, we saw Braun Breaker. He did a great job in his, the Raw debut, for 2026, where he lost to CM Punk. They're going to run it back for WrestleMania. So this feels like just perfect. All right, Braun Breaker, the Royal Rumble champion. They literally put the rocket on him and just go, all right, you are the future going forward in the company.
That, honestly, very valid pick, and especially with the run that he just had against CM Punk, where, of course, they were never going to take the title off of CM Punk this early, especially in his tenure. But, yeah, you kind of had to figure that was something that was going to happen. And very impressive showing by Braun Breaker. What did you think of his showing against Punk?
I thought it was great. I mean, look, he's still a bit young. We forget that. He's not even 30 years old. He's a freak athlete, though. I mean, this is one of a few guys I keep telling people, including Alt Jake from Alt Jake's Takes and War Dog Apollo from Between Town Wrestling. Like, he looks like an athlete. He moves like an athlete. You see him, and you are just like, ooh, I really don't want to piss him off. He looks like he could snap me in half. And some of the stuff he did, you saw like little spots where it got scary because he sort of missed moves, but again, for a guy that size to move that fast and just do some of the moves, a top rope Frankenstein, you're just sitting there like, men that size aren't supposed to move like that. So, again, I was happy. I was impressed. He looks the part. He's starting to find his voice. They're starting to figure out, okay, this is how we can, really make him, that monster, even though we're in a different era. Like, you can't be Scott Steiner in 2025, he'll get canceled. But Braun Breaker is starting to find, his roots and how to be just that, real bastard of a heel.
We were having mic difficulties on this one, so I had to switch over to the phone.
No problem. We don't. Hey, it's Monday. It's Martin Luther King holiday. The interns are like probably in the bag. They're hanging out watching the football game. I get it, Anthony. This is where you blame the intern. Hey, blame the intern.
This has been. It's wild how fast all these things happen when you're trying to figure out. A lot of people obviously watching some stuff,
I know. That's why you got to fire some interns tomorrow. Like, hey, look, you can't get drunk on Martin Luther King holiday while you're watching a football game and not get the mics right. You got Lay the law down, Andrew. Be your inner, Paul Heyman and just start making people cry. Go on like heel promos, these guys.
That's a, I'm apparently going to have to start doing so. But yeah, no, I love your Royal Rumble prediction, man. Braun Breaker's had an incredible year. I love the fluidity. I love his move set. I love what he does in the ring. I think he's absolutely spectacular. He is literally the future of this business. And getting back to what you said, Roman said, "Yeah, I'm done." Brock Lesnar's done. There's lots of guys that come in and out. Seth Rollins can never maintain a healthy status. Loving that pick. My surprise pick in this, Austin Theory.
I love Austin Theory, and I think they screwed him with the booking. It's just, how do you sell that event for a main event? Like, I mean, again, like I could see if you said like Oba Femi, I'd go, it's intriguing, but still too young. If you said even like, I don't know, maybe they pull a rabbit and go like Cody Rhodes, I could maybe see it because it's Saudi. Saudis are going to want to have a say in this, but I can't see them doing it with Austin. He deserves a nice run, and I hope they start booking him well. But again, he's still like people still look at Austin Theory and go goof, which is unfair because he's done a good job. It's just the booking for him has been horrible.
Yeah. I mean, the reality is, and the reason why I said I like him being in that spot is because for me personally, Austin Theory is, people are gonna hate this take. The dude is so good. Like at selling, being a pro, doing whatever the company has asked him to do. But here's where I think the reason why I think he's going to win the Rumble. And it sounds bananas. He hasn't won a fight in almost 2 years' time. A legitimate fight in 2 years' time. Okay. And rightfully so, he was injured for a lot of it. And now he's back. And here's where I think it's going to get cool and interesting because you can do so many cool little storylines with this. I think he's the inside guy for Seth Rollins to break the vision up. What do you think?
Maybe it's too meta for Triple H. I mean, and look, or Paul Levesque. And look, I'm not going to just be like some of these wrestling fans who go, "Oh yeah, Paul Levesque's booking sucks. This is horrible." Blah 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 blah. He is a guy. It's like, okay, he follows a plan. It's slow and steady wins the race. I could see Austin Theory down the line getting like the Money in the Bank briefcase.
Good spot.
And then handing it off to Seth Rollins and being the guy who is, the inside man. But when you talk to Royal Rumble, it's like, this is the guy it's gonna headline WrestleMania. This is the guy that you're saying this is the future of a company. And again, Braun Breaker's the closest thing they've had to Brock Lesnar since Brock Lesnar. So
yeah,
it just feels like it's the easiest path. Instead of putting him in through the Elimination Chamber and doing Cody again at the Royal Rumble, which I think people would then turn on Cody. This just feels like, okay, it's Braun Breaker's time. You then, do Cody and Jacob Fatu at, Elimination Chamber, and it just makes sense. I'm putting myself in Triple H's mind, like, all right, what would he do? This seems more like the safe and steady plan.
I honestly love the idea of, and again, Austin Theory is a wild card. There's some names that I could throw out there that I could see potentially being there. Your Randy Ortons of the world. I think there's still some good talent there. I think he needs to get close to taking or taking Cena's record. I just think because Orton's never disappeared minus injuries. If there's ever a guy who is like deserving to break that record, which I think will stand firm for a while, it would be Randy just because of his loyalty, also to the company. And he's still mega over with everybody. And even if he were to go heel, which he's been showing signs of doing, would be a great opportunity for him to cash in. And then, I just look at other, young talents, not even necessarily young talents, but I just watched the Finn Balor and CM Punk fight tonight. And I'm like, you know what, man? Finn Balor still got it. And in the best shape of his life, needs to lose the whole Judgment Day facade, And I think it's time that we finally strap something to Finn Balor. What do you think?
I agree. It's just here's the issue they have, and we'll cover this with TNA in a different way. But WWE has too much talent. I mean, it's like
Yeah,
okay,
yeah,
you look and you go, okay, well, Finn Balor needs a title run, Randy Orton needs a title run, but wait a minute, so does Jacob Fatu. Jacob Fatu right now needs a title run, and
yeah.
then it's like, well, what about Obafemi? Because you know they're looking at him as like the next big young star, and then
Oba's
you
an
got Trick
IC.
Williams, who
Oba's an
they're
IC
positioned,
right off the
yeah.
get go.
And oh, by the way, what about Dominic Mysterio? I mean, because he's one of the few guys you look and go, he's over like Rover.
Oh,
And
dude.
then you have Sheamus who's coming down, but do you want to give him one more last? I mean, and I'm even talking. We haven't even covered like Pentagon Junior, Solo Sokoa, Sami Zayn. I mean, it's just there's so much main event talent that it's like somebody has to sit and just not be that guy. So that's the toughest part. Like, who is the guy that you look at and go, all right, you're on the loser side. You are. We're gonna have to sort of. I mean, it's all LA Knight's already sort of in that part, and you're like, okay, where do we put LA? We have no idea. But it's the beauty and the trouble with WWE. They just have so much talent, they don't know what to do with it.
Yeah, and I feel like booking has been a very um, tough thing for H to navigate the whole time because I agree. There's so many, yeah, up and comers, mid carders who are like way over, and like, and I'm putting Dom in that mid card. Like his move set is not great. It's still, yeah, for me. He's learning. He's still very young in this sport, which is amazing. But he's super over. You can't deny it. Like his matches in Mexico, like the dude, that pop he got when he unveiled himself as the mystery attacker, I was like, wow, this is crazy. This is Dominic Mysterio. Like it's not something I expected, but he plays the heel perfectly, and people love that. Like even when he won the IC title, I think everybody was just like, it was crazy how over he was, and good cash and success. The Rumble is always interesting because you're going to get a few legends that also return in that as well. One name, give me one name that you think comes back, a legend or even current roster guy who's maybe been gone a little while.
I I was trying to think of that because like I'm almost having trouble. Like, who do you get rid? Who sits out? Because you look and it's like, well, Cody's going to be in. Roman's going to be in. Jacob Fatu, Solo Sokoa, Sami Zayn.
All
That's
of
five
MTF
already.
probably.
Trick Williams. Uh, mentioned Obafemi. I guess there was talk that Ethan Page is going to be in Saudi Arabia, so I could see him being there.
Chris Jericho.
Eh, we'll get to Jericho in a bit. I say no for different reasons, but then you have Javon Evans, who they've really been touting. You'll have Miro in there. You'll have, of course, Jay Uso has to be there. Probably Jimmy Uso. I mean, again, it's like start looking, reading all these names. It's like holy crap. Even if we don't put all the tag people in there, except for the Usos, because you got to have Usos in there, you're running out of space quickly. Like I don't even like people are like, oh, what TNA star is going to be in the Rumble this year? I don't see one because it's just again when each roster is carrying like 50 people, who do you sit that you have to tell people, hey, yeah, you can't be in the Rumble this year?
Yeah,
So I'll say this: my surprise, Ethan Page. I think they're going to reward him and put him in the Rumble.
yeah, he's been doing some crazy good work with NXT over the last few years. I agree with you. TNA always has that one surprise. Now that they have that partnership, there's two guys that really come to mind. Well, three. Nick Namath is in there because obviously Dolph is just one of the biggest over guys of all time in my eyes. One of the best sellers, one of the best wrestlers. So there's one that I think that could go in there. And two shockers, Mike Santana, because obviously they love doing things with TNA champions in WWE. As of late, obviously with this partnership, I could see him being in there. And then I could also, because it might be AJ Styles' last go at the Rumble. We know he's retiring this year. I would love to see his counterpart and longest rival and friend, Frankie Kazarian, get in there.
I think if it wasn't in Saudi Arabia, I'd say it'd be a good chance because it's a Saudi Arabia. It's just they're gonna have to leave early. because you know that's going to be a bitch of a trip. So you're
Yeah.
probably leaving Wednesday. So, and then you need, do you have a passport? Are you going to be able to get back? What's going on here? And Matt, because again, the Saudis going to want their people. So like Matt Cardona and Miz are going to be in the Rumble because they know who they are. I mean, everybody knows Zack Ryder in Saudi Arabia. Everybody knows the Miz.
Yeah.
No, R-Truth is going to be in the Rumble, even though it's like, why is R-Truth in the Rumble? Because he has to be in the Rumble.
Comical spot.
I mean, if anything, I'd say there's more of a chance that you get like a legend, like, I don't know, Bully Ray or Bubba Ray Dudley in there, because it's just, that's what the Saudis want. Remember, they wanted Yokozuna during one of their super showdowns. And WWE had to go like, well, he's dead. But we'll get you a sumo guy. We'll find one. We have no idea.
Yeah.
But we'll find one for you.
Here's Paul Wright.
No, they actually got a Japanese sumo guy who sort of looked like, who was a Yokozuna, and put him in there. Like, hey, there's Yokozuna, technically.
Yeah. Oof. I remember that actually. Not a good look. Yeah, and so I mean that moves us into our next thing. We could talk about the Rumble all day because it's one of my favorite things. And maybe I'll have you on and we'll do a Rumble podcast before next week. I think I like the ideas of having a couple people on and we'll talk and break it down once we know the full card too, because obviously SmackDown is going to make sure that we have a full card ready as of this week. So big one. TNA moving to AMC. Of course, your home for The Walking Dead is now home of the Walking Bad ratings. Or not a Walking Bad ratings, but a bombed show to debut, and it still did well and better than some of the shows that they have on their network. But man, oh man, I was hyped, and all of the hype going into TNA moving to AMC from, of course, other networks. I was so excited, so excited, and the show stunk, Chris.
See, I disagree. So let me ask you this, because I'm going to put you on the spot. What were you expecting? Like, what was it a realistic expectation?
My love for TNA when I was a kid stems back from former guys going back to TNA, right? Like, let's think about some of the greatest, I would have loved, I loved that they kicked off the show with AJ Styles.
Okay.
That was, to me, perfect. That is the way they should have started that show, because he is the face that runs the place. That will always be AJ Styles. Phenomenal or not, he will always be the face that runs the place in TNA. So for me, great start. The Hardy Boys versus the Righteous, amazing. Or the tee up to that, sorry. That feud has been great. I loved that part of it. The other stuff, though, bringing Dixie Carter back, what's my boy Mr. Park doing in WWE? We couldn't bring Abyss back for one night?
Because I'll tell you why. Abyss was with Leon Slater was all over the SmackDown. He was a producer, so they couldn't spare him. He was already on that plane ride. He is one of the lead producers over in WWE. So again, I get what you want, but it's like Samoa Joe's in AEW, Christopher Daniels AEW, Bobby Roode was over in the UK, for that trip because he's one of the Raw guys.
Yeah,
Abyss, Chris Parks was over in Scotland because, hey, he's one of the Raw SmackDown producers. I get what people wanted in terms of surprise, but it's like, the basically this is the old TNA. People forget they were the number 2 brand. They had Dixie didn't care about losing money. She just spent like a drunken frat boy in a strip club. They don't, and it was talent because it was either WWE or TNA.
Yeah.
AEW has signed more people. They have 170 people on that goddamn roster.
Yeah.
So again, I keep telling people, like, you weren't, there's no big free agents that are going to come to move a needle. You aren't going to get, these surprise big names because they're not there.
Yeah.
But you got some surprises. I mean, you had, you have a new authority figure, Daria Ray, aka Sonya Deville.
Love that. I love that. I did like that.
And she's going to be a breath of fresh air. Because you could tell TNA fans, like, okay, Santino needs to go. This is just, if you thought R-Truth is too much, Santino's just way too much. You saw Elena Black, who just looks money. I mean, is she a great wrestler? No. She's working the promos, but she's the kind of woman who can walk down the street and your neck turns and goes, ooh, I want to see that woman again. Like
Yep.
she is just money. She is there. You got a women's tag team title change. Yeah, I get it. I look at the ratings and I've always gotten upset because people go LOL TNA when Perez Hilton is there. But yet AEW brings in the Rizzler and Big Justice. And
Oh,
it's
God.
just like, oh, those media people, they just, oh, that's great TV. Look, they're getting social media influencers. They're getting 2 children. One of them, took out a male wrestler. Even you have to admit, like, oh my God, this is embarrassing.
Dude, I've got some mixed opinions on chicken bakes and double chocolate chunk cookies, let me tell you. I think it was the biggest disgrace I get it. I get why you do it. They're huge international superstars on a stupid platform. You gave them a stupid way to go in, and I felt so bad for QT Marshall. But like the guy's a constant professional, so I mean,
But they're not international superstars. They're Jersey. That's
Yeah.
it. If you go outside Jersey, people are like, oh yeah, the Costco Bros. Who the hell is that?
yeah,
But it's Jersey. I
they
mean,
cashed
literally.
in. They cashed in, and that good for Tony Khan. Like I get it. I just didn't understand. I have my own opinions on Tony Khan, but it's okay. You have so much talent, brother. Start using your goddamn head. All right. Nonetheless, yeah. So that show didn't do great. I'm guaranteeing TNA is going to be back. It'll be fine. I do agree with you, Sonya Deville, or as her new name is, yeah, she's great. Great book. She's going to be very, very good for business because she's a heel right off the get go. They established her as a heel. Bang. No more nice guy. Like, let's have that serious person that's in there. And she's done some great heel work when she was in WWE
Yes.
as well. So I'm really excited for the route that they're going with her. And then, of course, bringing Cora Jade in, or can we use that name anymore? Are we allowed to use that name anymore?
She's going by her real name, Elena Black.
I know, Elena Black. But it's a good entrance and a good opening because not too long ago, I saw that she was doing some training and some footage work with Mandy Rose. Now, that opens up that door, too. I think Mandy still has that hunger to go back. So if TNA wants to, they could have 2 really big up-and-coming superstars after they lost Jordan Grace, right? You need another name, right? So I think this is a perfect way for them to maybe slide that in there and have those 2 women be like almost like the beautiful people. You know what I mean? From back in early TNA to have that again. Madison Rain, like, you know what I mean? That's that kind of figure that Mandy Rose could be, and they could have that partnership and run that women's division for a long time. That's if Mandy Rose wants to get off OnlyFans, Like, I'm just saying it.
I'll say this. They have some good talent. I mean, you have, the Elegance brand. You have, Tessa Blanchard and Milan Moore. You have, Danny Luna. Are they big names? No, but there's talent in the women's division. They've added a lot of hungry young people, excellent wrestlers. Yeah, they're not they're not great talkers yet. They're learning, but again, this is not your old TNA roster. They are not AEW where they can just spend like drunken sailors, $170 million on talent, bring everybody in. But it's a nice little mix. You're working still with NXT WWE partnership. Now that's on AMC, you might start seeing the main roster guys come over because it's no longer, well, you're on Access TV. Who cares? It's, oh, you're on AMC. Oh. And look, AJ Styles will probably wrestle for him. So again, I get it. This was a decent debut. It wasn't great. It wasn't, a home run. It was just fine.
Yeah, I agree. And
but
I don't
you still got the title of Frankie Kazarian. Mike Santana's your champion. So I give him points. They didn't screw up the landing.
Yeah, they hit the booking perfectly. Everybody was so infuriated that Mike Santana lost to Frankie Kazarian on TV, on Access. Let's not forget, it wasn't a pay-per-view either. It was just on Access, and then boom, Frankie Kazarian won. And I've met Frankie. The dude is a constant professional, one of the nicest dudes I've ever met in my life, and just a workhorse. Just flowers to him. At 50 years old, he's doing his thing, and there's no stopping him right now. Best shape of his life, still an incredible in-ring performer. And you're right, though. They had to strike on Mike Santana because not only was he been hot, they were hot for him. So they did the right thing by giving him the strap. It'll be a couple months. He'll have it for a little while. But I agree. There's going to be a main event guy that comes over to that roster, and there's going to be some talent that trickles in. Like I said, there's really good mid carders in WWE that could be probably superstars or elevated to superstar level if they go to TNA. So that partnership, probably the best thing for them, in my opinion. I think it's been a very healthy, successful move for both NXT and some of the main roster. And of course, TNA has been benefiting with having like Trick Williams and all those guys come up on their show, right?
I agree. And look, I think the WWE partnership also helps with like understanding how to shoot television, understanding like
Yeah,
backstage segments, understanding like how to produce sports entertainment TV. Because look, if WB is basically like professional Hollywood standards,
right.
yeah, like you read the notes, and they spend like 2.5 to 3 million to produce an episode of Raw and SmackDown. They spend double that or twice and a half for PLE. So they
Right.
spend money on like high def, top of the line cameras, lighting, motion, producing scripts, everything. So everybody else looks just, and it's going to take time. Look, AEW got paid $10 million. The Dark Winds, the Native American, cop show, which is a good show, they get paid $8 million per episode. AMC is not paying big money for this, so they're happy with it. But it's still like TNA is going to figure out down the road. All right, how do we grow? How do we get more money? How do we build the brand? And that's going to take time. But for now, it was fine. It stuck the landing. You saw, okay, this is sort of what it is. Do they need to fix things? Yeah, they need a lot of fixing. But again, I just looked at the ratings and went, the AEW media, wrestling media is out in full friggin' force. And god damn it, if this was AEW, they'd be going 8 out of 10 stars. With TNA, it's like 1 out of 10. I mean, it's just the ball washing that goes on is just insane.
Tony Khan has to have critics paid. I'm just saying, like he's got to have some of them under his payroll because some of like the Dave. I'm not shout like I'd love to have him on the podcast to pick his brain someday, but Dave Meltzer, some of your takes are absolutely outrageous, my guy. Everything Kyle Fletcher does is not a 5 out of 5 every single time. Like it's just not. It's not. But nonetheless, let's get into A&W or AEW. And of course, we're going to break down some of the latest signings and storylines. We've had a lot of turnover. Obviously, we've seen some guys that were AEW guys make their resurgence over to WWE, Matt Cardona being the most recent. And then on the flip side of things, hey, Andrade's back for the 900th time.
Oh, God, that guy
What's up, Andrade?
He's in, he's out, he's out. So I'll give my grades. I'll give the A grade. Powerhouse Hobbs to WWE, I love.
Yes, me
You
too.
can if he's not ready in terms of you need to get as all Jake from Jake's Takes would say, you got to get the AEW stench off him.
Yeah,
he could be the bodyguard. I mean, imagine Dominic Mysterio all of a sudden announced, my life is being threatened. I've brought in hired security, Mr. Hobbs.
Oh.
Or Trick Williams decides, you know what? Hey, all these paparazzi are following me. All of you people want to whoop this Trick. Well, I got my guy here, Powerhouse.
Yeah,
like, it's just perfect. He is. You look at him, and he is just a physical monster who, again, looks like he will flip your car over with you in it. To me, he needs maybe some work in terms of promos and everything. AEW doesn't do a good job, but damn, he is. WWE wanted him. He still had, one of Trios titles the last day he was working.
fact.
But he's, this is a guy who, if you get him right, he is just money. And damn, this is a guy that looks like a pro wrestler. That's my A signing.
A signing in my agreement too. I think he has the potential to be a Big E. You think about it, right? Big E comes in. What was he famous for? Oh, I know, being the bodyguard for Dolph Ziggler while he cashed in, right? Like that was the role that he played, and they are very similar when it comes to mic skills at the time, performance at the time. So I think they have this untapped potential with Powerhouse Hobbs to make him a Big E.
I could see that. Or even just, mid-level, a guy like Mr. Hughes back in
Yeah,
WCW. Or even, if Tyson Tomko back in the day. Like,
with
at
Christian.
worst, if
Yeah,
it's worse, he is still somebody that you can come in right away and go, this is the heavy, this is the bodyguard, until you get him like, okay, how to work a WWE match and not do the AEW. Yes, let's do everything. And hey, if you get dropped on your head, well, hey, no worries. If you can walk it off, it wasn't a bad bump.
shout out to Tyson Tomko. Met him at the Calgary International Airport. So that was cool back in the day. He was a big man. I don't know what he does now, but he was very intimidating with his real long ass. Do you remember his long ass goatee?
Oh, yes.
And
He's like, what,
yeah,
6'6",
he was a
290
big
pounds.
boy.
It's like, I think he could probably snap my spine.
Fact, looked at him, and I think I was 15 or 16 at the time, and I was beyond intimidated. And he had his tattoos kicking out with the big tribal stuff. He was a monster among men, and sad that he didn't have the career he did, but he played his role great. He was perfect for Christian at that time. Yeah, and then of course there were some big announcements made. You want to talk about guys that were leaving a show that I didn't think were going to leave? The Rascals leave TNA, which has been their home for the last, I think, several years, moving over to AEW minus Trey Miguel. What do you think of the storyline?
So let's start from the top. So TNA, from what I heard, was not going to renew them. It came to an end. Then look, God bless them. The Rascals are a fun act, but they are what they are. They love to do a lot of high flying moves. It feels like almost a dance. I mean, they fit AEW's sort of
Yes.
flips and dips, and that's perfect. And I think if you were TNA, it's like we've just done as much as we can. So at first, all four of them are signed, quote unquote. And then comes the bombshell. Literally a day later, Trey Miguel has wiped out all his AEW mentions on his social media. And you're like, ooh, wait a minute. Stepping away, it's family things. What's going on here? And then a day later, you and I both saw Trey Miguel released by AEW. I'm here to call bullshit on the whole thing. I apologize for cursing, but they're saying, oh, well.
Let it out, brother. We love that.
It was some far back tweets, some homophobic tweets. It was some high up top. I'm calling shenanigans. Who from WBD is going to be looking at Trey Miguel going, yeah, we really need to investigate this guy. And we're going to go all the way back into social media. And we're going to look at all this here and bull crap.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what really happened, because I will bet my bottom dollar. Trey Miguel's ex-girlfriend, who is it?
Yeah, you want to know who it is? Ask the world champion.
Yes. Maxwell J. Friedman's wife, Alicia Tout. So, look, I get it. That's probably awkward. Like, oh, yeah, hey, by the way, I signed your wife's ex. And knowing Tony Khan and how he doesn't like sort of, well, drama or confrontation.
All in. Huh.
Yeah. Or bad vibes. I'm guessing that, hey, he basically said, well, look, we can't sign you, Trey. But hey, we and then he made that whole bullcrap story, just like they did about the Briscoes. Like, yeah, it was some WBD execs. I literally, like, you and I both know from TV people, they wouldn't know half these AEW guys if they walked up to them. They don't care. They have bigger things to deal with in AEW wrestling, especially when we're trying to negotiate a huge merger with Netflix.
Yeah.
Again, this smells like bullcrap. It's basically, just admit it. Look, hey, our world champion doesn't want his wife's ex here in the company. Maxwell J. Friedman, threw his weight around, and just like CM Punk, if a clique doesn't like you, you're off the reservation. I'm calling that right now. I know the AEW people listening to this are going to go, no, Chris, it was WB&D executives It was, they weren't happy, so they made the call. Again, nobody from WBD probably knows who the hell the Rascals are, cares who the Rascals are. I mean, they could have just said, "Yeah, just don't put them on AEW." They could have stuck them all in the Ring of Honor. No, this smells just like crap from MJF and Tony Khan going, "Oh, wait a minute. You're Alicia Tau's ex. Ooh, no, you gotta leave. Leave, motherfucker. Leave. Go away."
Fact. So I agree with you fully. I watched the promo that they cut, and I'm watching them come out the doorway. I'm like, there's one, there's two, there's three. Where's Trey? I was like, what? The hell's going on? Because for me, Trey Miguel and in all intents and purposes, I think he's been the face of them for the last little while. And to see him not be on the promo, I was like, okay, so we're not really getting the Rascals. We're getting a formation of them, but it's not the true Rascals that we've been watching for the last several weeks, months,
By the way, why is Trey Miguel there? Since remember he had a whole Hitler picture which went around, but he's still there.
Yeah. No, you're not Trey Miguel. You're thinking of
Zachary Wentz. Like Zachary Wentz was there after his whole picture, and it's like, wait a minute here. So being rid of Trey Miguel for mean tweets back in the day, but a more recent photo where you have a wrestler looking like Hitler. No, that's fine for WB executives. Sorry,
but Zach, and the thing is, also Wentz had that issue with his then spouse, right? Who also worked for a certain company, not AEW, but worked for WWE, and who got released from his contract. Oh, that's right. And then they found out that he wasn't guilty. Oh, and then guess what? All of a sudden he was back on television. That's just the way cancel culture works, folks. Like I'm not saying what he did was right. I'm not saying anything that these guys
agree, but it's like
is right. But I'm also saying that if you're going to cancel culture, cancel. You know what I mean? Like it's we're in a world where everybody's very quick and to judge somebody based on past actions, if you will. I mean, no one's perfect. We all have our blemishes in our past as well. But I mean, if you realistically look at this, I agree with you fully. There's no world where WB's like, fuck, we can't have him. Like it just maybe and the only thing I can think of is that it literally, when it happened, Tony Khan was like, yep, I need the Rascals. I think they fit our brand perfectly. They're what we're after. RVD's on the show every now and again. We would love to have him do, a little stint with them or something, the whole 420 thing, Like, I see where Tony's head was at. And then, Trey can wrestle. He's flat out good. Like, he's real good in the ring. And super aerial, super technical. Out of the four of them, I think he's the best. I know everybody's going to be like, well, what about Wes? Nah. But I just think that they missed a superstar just because the guy had an ex-girlfriend in the business. Like, I think that's what it came down to. It's like, hey, we just brought MJF back after a long layoff. We just made him world champion again. He's kicking ass and taking names, and we can't have Miguel being backstage with his now, because MJF's wife's going to be traveling with them for sure. Like without a doubt, she's at least at some shows. So again, I agree with you. They don't want any confrontation because guess what happened at AEW All In London? Like they don't want that because Tony doesn't live for that anymore. So I think the easiest decision for Tony to be like, hey man, we'll pay you. Thanks for doing your thing for us. But unfortunately, it's not going to work out. But we both know outside of all the tweets and bullshit, you can see through the smoke.
Yeah. Now look, again, I get it. And if this should have been either like, all right off the bat, you say we're not signing, Trey Miguel, or hey, MJF, you got to live with it, because this is a wrestling business. People have been, married or dated several different people. As long as you're professional, you should be able to be like adults. But no, this again, it's what bothers me is just like the whole just propaganda of it was a high level executive who made the call. Yeah, Tony couldn't do anything about it. I'm guessing those WBD executives have gone to Tony like, hey, Tony, can you no longer have like glasses, people going through glass tables, use flamethrowers,
staplers,
blood and guts, and he'll tone it down a bit, and then he'll do it back again. So, yeah, let's call it what it is. It's bull crap.
Yeah, 100% agreed with you. And obviously that, there's a lot of, again, weird storylines that are going on through AEW. What's one for you that's kind of hit, that's stuck so far?
I don't have one. I'm sorry. It's when I spoke with Jake, he was there at the show for the recent Dynamite out in Arizona, and basically as he said, hey, you know what? The new trios champions, they just decided we're gonna have a title shot. No, oh yeah, they are they've won a couple times. No, they're not an established team. It's just Hangman Cage walked up. He said it's a jet speed. Hey, we're getting a title shot. I'm handling that. And what happens? They win their first title shot. Let's see. Moxley all of a sudden is a good guy for reasons. I have no idea what they are.
No one
Darby
does.
Allin is still feuding with the lovable. They aren't lovable, but the black. The Death Riders, or AKA the Bald Combat Club, for reasons. No idea. And yes, your new tag team at number one contenders are two dudes who just got put together from the Don Callis family. One of them, formerly Jake something, and yes, they won a 4-way elimination, and they are the bad guys, and they're fighting another bad guy, the FTR. I can't stand AEW. There's no storylines. It's just, hey, let's have wrestling matches. Hey, let's just do spots. Hey, let's go through tables. Hey, let's get slammed on concrete. Literally, that's what AEW fans look at. You just want a spot. Just admit, it's like dogfighting. You want the kill. That's all you care about. You want somebody to go through like a glass table, get hit with a barbed wire baseball bat, to do like a 450 onto the floor. If you break your neck, that'll be terrible. But hey, it'd be a cool spot. Like, I'm sorry. Like, I'm going to put you in here, Andrew. Sell it to me. What is great about AEW? If I'm a fan, I want storylines. I want, good promos, and I want action that makes sense.
Not having a cokehead owner. I'm never getting invited to anything AEW anyways. But
nobody does unless you kiss the ring.
I mean, the reality is, right now people are down Paul Levesque's throat about his booking abilities. Hello, have you watched anything that AEW has done lately? It's not that I'm shitting on AEW as a company. They have a carny circus going on right now. You just mentioned it. I love my boy Jake something, or Jake Doyle, if we will, but there is no way in Sam's hell that in his first match ever in AEW should he have been a title contender. Hello, the Outrunners might be the fucking best thing in tag team wrestling, and they are getting buried in AEW. Buried. The 80s satirical comedy relief that they are, they're also really fucking good in the ring. How are they not going against FTR? Hello, face versus heel. That's the way it's been our entire lives. What are we doing putting the Don Callis family, a literal heel family, going against FTR, who are also ridiculously heel? It doesn't make any sense to me. It is a carny festival. And I know you AEW diehards are going to reach out to me and tell me that, oh, that Andrew, he doesn't like AEW. I love the talent that's in AEW. It's called booking. It's called booking, and it's not done strategically. Shit on Paul Levesque all you want for recent bookings and winnings and whatever. At least you're watching the show, and there's at least a storyline. Like, I don't understand Tony Khan at all. I don't. He seems like a genuinely nice dude, but nice gets you killed in this sport. Have not learned? Vince McMahon was the meanest dude in the world, and he ate people for a living. Ate every person alive because he was the bad guy. You don't win by being nice. And also learn how to book. That's all I can say about AEW. Tell me I'm wrong.
No, you're not. But again, Tony doesn't want to be a professional businessman. This is his play toy. I get to live out my fantasy of being a wrestling booker. I want to do matches. I want to have small guys. I mean, look, I understand, booking smaller talent. I mean, and as long as you look like you can handle yourself, I'm for it. I'm sorry, I can't get into Darby Allen. He looks like a small child. He's built like a small
Make a
child.
wish sting.
How can you expect like an average person to look at him and go, yeah, he's gonna beat a guy twice his size because he just leaps and falls back and lands on him? I mean, again, you look at who, like, even TNA, Mike Santana, pretty decent sized guy. Moose, very large man, former NFL offensive tackle. You have even Nick Nemeth, looks like he is a elite athlete. And then AEW just puts in like, hey, gotta have Orange Cassidy. He has to get a push. Hey, Darby Allin, he has to get a push. Hey, look at those young bucks, or I guess the Bucks. They need. None of them look like, if I tried to sell that to an average person, they would look and go, are these fans? No, they're wrestlers. Are you sure? They look like they're fans. No, they're wrestlers. Look, you're teasing me. They look like I probably bought drywall from one of Lowe's. They're fans, right? No, they are wrestlers. They don't look like wrestlers.
Yeah, they have a hard time trying to sell me on the product, and I've been trying. Listen, my favorite wrestler of all time is on their brand, but they also ruined my favorite wrestler of all time. I am a diehard, and that's because I'm a Canadian. But Edge has been my boy since the day I was a child. A child, all right. Not the rated R superstar. I'm talking like coming out to Rob Zombie, never gonna stop me Edge. The Brood Edge. That's what I grew up on. And then he goes over to AEW. Hey, can't blame him. Go get the money, man. You're 50 some years old. Go get that paper. I get it. They probably paid a ton to have his music from Alter Bridge, and secondly, the name Edge that lasted a week, and then he was Cope, and then he was Adam Copeland, and then he was jumping off of steel cages at 54 years old, shattering ankles. What for? Like, in what world the Hardys can do it? The Hardys can do it. That's their bread and butter. Edge is not jumping off of steel cages anymore. What were we doing?
I'll give you a better one. And shout out to Kevin Apollo for Toontown Wrestling. You sign Bobby Lashley and Shelton Benjamin. Both these guys are legitimate amateur wrestlers. Bobby Lashley has killed people in the military. He is a trained U.S. Army Ranger. He is a guy who is a Bellator contender. He looks like he could, put one hand down your throat, the other up your rear end, and use you as an accordion. And you don't put the world title on him. No, you're going to basically have him be in the mid card, goof around with the tag titles for a bit, lose it to a team because basically the Young Bucks didn't want to wrestle them. Can't say that, but it's true.
True.
And now it's like he's injured. How do you screw that up? I mean, literally, he is the guy you can sell to advertisers. We have Bobby Lashley, who people look and go, yeah, he's a star. I know who he is.
4-time WWE champion, 3-time TNA World Champion. Literally, the resume speaks for itself, but yet you brought him in to be a powerhouse, and you tagged him with the Hurt Business, which we all wanted. Make Shelton look good. Shelton's looked very good as of late, and I'm giving flowers to Shelton Benjamin because he is putting on performances after performances at his age too. He's 48 years old. Like, he's still giving it.
They're not getting pushed because, again, Tony's going to go, well,
and that's what I was getting to. No matter what and how good they are in the ring, Shelton Benjamin's coming back to the WWE. I'm telling you guys right now. That might be a hot take. Clip this. He's going back to the WWE because what they have done to him is no different than what he faced over there. But at least in WWE, he was getting pops and crowds every time he was there. So, I mean, I would like to see Shelton get another run as a singles competitor, but it won't happen because, again, the goof doesn't know how to book. That's just the issue.
I know.
And I agree with you. The hard part for me is you sit there and watch the talents like Bobby Lashley, Edge, Christian, these guys that on the mic, so damn good. In the ring, even though they're a little bit older, still some of the best work I've seen. This run by Christian is some of the best work I've ever seen in his life. And this goes back to 06 Christian when he debuted at TNA as Captain Charisma, right? Like that was one of the biggest signings in TNA history. And he was great. He was perfect for them. And then he's now in AEW, and it's like, okay, the mom thing, I'm going to sleep with. We get it. Like it's a played out shtick. Give him the Captain Charisma thing back. Let him roll, and just let him be a singles competitor. This stuff that he does, like, tell me I'm wrong, but like the mom stuff just is irrelevant now.
Again,
I'm your dad. Like, we get it, Christian. Like, you've been saying it for 2 years now.
you have too many people who it's just, and I know Tony says he has final say, but there's too many people who have his ear and he can't say no to. Like, remember, it was supposed to be MJF would turn on the Hurt Syndicate. We were looking forward to an MJF, Bobby Lashley. This could launch MJF, and then they just kick him out, and nothing happens.
Nothing
and then MJF just mysteriously is now the world champion, and Hurt Syndicate is sort of
in shambles again.
It's again, it's too many of these people who just, I really don't work with this guy. They work kind of stiff. I think they're kind of mean. I don't want to work with them. And Tony, who is just non-confrontational, just as long as he's paying him, hey, he'll find ways to keep him busy. But it's not a business, as CM Punk said. It's not a business. It's just a bunch of people who want to have fun.
Yep, and that's why Cody Rhodes left. That's why CM Punk left, because they saw the writing on the walls. And those are guys that were very vital parts. Let's not forget, CM Punk came back to professional wrestling through AEW, right? Like, and Cody Rhodes was an executive producer / owner. Like, you knew that something was going on when those guys were like, we're out. But nonetheless, dude, this has been an incredible. We could go on all day. I think I'm going to do a Royal Rumble preview show. I'm going to bring. I would love to have you back on here.
Well, yeah, let's have him come back. So let me know.
100%. Love to have you back on. We'll get into the nitty gritty. Obviously, it's coming up next week. We'll try to schedule something in the meantime. Chris, man, pleasure. Where can people find you, my dude?
You can check me out, lastcallpodcast.com. I'm also on YouTube, Rumble. I am on LinkedIn, Facebook. We just did an interview today that we dropped with all Jake Takes. So we talked to AEW Dynamite. He was there live in Phoenix, as he even saw, Tony Khan's sort of hype speeches. We talked TNA on AMC debut. This week, we're going to have Will Thomas. We'll be talking about national championship game, Darian Mensah to Miami, the fallout from the transfer portal, a lot more. And Andrew, once again, always love being on your show. We're definitely going to get. Hopefully, I can be back on the Boomtown podcast.
Yeah, man, absolutely. We're going to have you back on. Like I said, hopefully next week. I'm going to try to plan it out with a couple guys, and we'll have a little fade. I'm hoping that we'll have 4 guys. We can do like a fatal 4-way style. I'm going to have our picks, our choices, who is a long shot, all that kind of stuff. So we'll work that out, but I can't thank you enough for joining us, man. And thank you guys for joining us as well. We hope you enjoyed it. It's the Boomtown Pod. We are live, and if you missed it at the start of the show, just want to thank our sponsors one more time. FKN Ale, thank you so much from day one. Sandman, my guy over there, Sandstar Graphics, thank you so much to them. Again, if there's anything that you need, whether it be hats, t-shirts, customized jerseys, you name it, hit up Sandstar Graphics in Saskatoon. And then, of course, Rest When Dead Clothing, restwhendead.ca. That's that beautiful, beautiful shirt you see behind me. Of course, of the one and only Ace Austin in AEW. Got to meet him in Moose Jaw with the crew with Reaper Wrestling. Awesome stuff. And then our newest sponsor, Iron and Ink Company. We're so excited for them to join us. It's a huge pickup. Go follow them. They got 96,000 followers. So it's a huge add to our show, and we cannot wait to work with them hand in hand. Jeff, I know personally, has been one of the biggest supporters. I'm currently wearing an Iron and Ink sweater. I love the program. I love what they're selling. And if you're into tattoos, gym culture, this is what they have for you. Big prints, bold stuff. Absolutely amazing stuff, and a great company and an owner who gives a shit. So I love that about him. Anyways, thank you guys again, and we'll have you back on, Chris. How's that sound?
Sounds like a plan. Looking forward to it.
You guys have yourselves a